Okay, here we go. We are live. Okay, so good evening, everybody, and welcome to Equine Voices. And this is an interview with Scout and Michelle from Scout's Trail, and I'm just going to bring them in shortly. So what we'll do with if anybody has any questions, what I'm going to do is ask them towards the end. Okay, so if you've got any questions, if you leave them in the comments, and then what I will do is answer that. We'll answer them at the end or towards the end. Anyway, I'm just going to wait. Oh, there's a few people on. Right, okay. So I'm just going to bring Michelle and Scout in, and they are going to just tell us all about their adventures and their stories and their beautiful horses and their dogs. Okay, so here we go. Get you on that side. Hi.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, it's. I'll just explain this. If you hear a little noise in the background, there's a train going past. They're in a. Where are you again?
Goldfield Ghost Town in Apache Junction, Arizona.
Apache Junction. So if you hear a train, that's what it is. You can hear a train. Okay.
You might hear gunshots as well. They have gunfights here.
Oh,
There's a lot going on.
So there must be somebody on that knows you, because they've just said, "Oh, you're talking to Scout," but I don't know who it is, because if they don't give StreamYard permission, it just posts the messages, but not their name. Okay, so I'm just going to go in there. Okay, right, let's get going. So welcome to Equine Voices, and thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. I'm so excited to hear about your adventures. So if you'd like to just say a little bit about yourself, where was you before you started? So what was happening before you decided to go off on this amazing adventure?
We lived on Cape Cod, Massachusetts, on a little farm that we had where we had rescue animals and raised our own food, and Scout grew up there and ran wild in the woods. I was a volunteer, not a volunteer, but a professional firefighter. And when Scout was about 9 years old, she started suffering from some anxiety and depression, and I think I did as well, from decades of rescue work and stuff like that. And so we decided, because we both loved to travel, we had traveled internationally for about 4 years before, maybe between her ages of 6 and 10. We loved to travel, and we thought we needed to change our life. So we sold all of our possessions and sold our home, and we purchased a camper and truck and horse trailer. So we have like a mobile tiny home and tiny barn on wheels. And we loaded 3 dogs and 3 horses into that. And we've been seeing America by horseback for almost 2 years now.
Amazing. I mean, that's amazing. That's such an achievement to set off on that sort of journey anyway. And yeah, it's just I'm in awe of it. I've been following you and watching what you've been getting up to, and Scout makes some brilliant posts of where she's been. And recently you was riding with wild horses. You did a little video of riding near the wild horses. So would you like to just talk about your horses? Would you like to explain who they are and your dogs? So you've got Woody, Dakota, Joker, and then you've got Puck and KO. Is that right? Kaya. Sorry. So can you hear me okay? I think you've frozen a little bit.
Well, I'll start off Dakota. She is a well, my horse is a almost 19-year-old Percheron quarter horse mare named Dakota. My mom got her when she was 2 days old. She was essentially born to die. She was what was called a nurse mare foal, and we've had her ever since. And she was one of the big parts of me getting rid of my anxiety and depression.
Hedawudi is a 30-year-old POA that travels along with us as our third horse, and she, for the most part, runs at liberty. Last year, she ran behind us for over 1,200 miles. The reason we have her is Scout used to have a pony that went blind and had her eyes removed. And although Scout still rode Daisy on the trails, at home she couldn't live in with the other animals. So we rescued Hedawudi from an auction. And then when Daisy died, Scout started riding Hedawudi. And so because we keep our animals forever, for the most part, we had 3 horses when we left, so she came along, and she's quite the character. And then he lives up to his name. He had a huge part in Scout's beating anxiety. He's the only horse we've ever purchased. All the rest are rescues. But really well trained with great breaks and had no fear of anything. And that was Joker. And an extra talent, which we found after we purchased him, was every time Scout got panicky or afraid when she was riding him, he would immediately do something funny. It was something completely harmless. He might pick something up or just do something really silly and goofy, and it would break her thought of whatever was making her afraid, and it would make her laugh. And because she would then start laughing, her anxiety would disappear. So Joker was amazing. And we have since switched horses. And, there's a long list of horses that have helped Scout over the past 2 or 3 years in her journey to beat anxiety. And she rode Joker for about a year, and then we made a switch. So that's our little herd. And you want to tell them about our dogs?
Well, we currently have 2 dogs, Puck and Kaya. Kaya is a approximately 11-year-old Shih Tzu who we originally rescued to be a service animal, but that didn't work out, so we decided to keep her. And now she rides in the saddle, which if you follow me, you will usually see pictures of her looking all comfy in the saddlebag. Then we also have a 4-year-old, this is a tongue twister, Portuguese Podango named Puck. And he runs along on the trail with us.
Oh, I've seen Kaya. Is that how you say it? Kaya. I've seen photos where you've been riding, and you've got him on the saddle, which is so cute, so fun, so lovely. So I had a little look, and I saw a picture of Daisy. There was a picture of you when you was a lot smaller, Scout, and you was riding Daisy, which is amazing to see. That you've got a pony that's blind, but you can still do things with her. And okay. Would you like to just talk about when you first set off on your journey? So when you sold your home and you got the horses and you've set off, what was going through your mind? How did you decide which area to go to first?
Well, once we were able to get onto the road, once we got all of our things all packed up, we decided this was already when my riding accident happened, so I was still very nervous about being on a horse and going fast in a slow walk. we decided to go up to Upper New York State to a horse camp and horse park called Salmon River Horse Park. It was, of course, near the Salmon River. And it has a 2-acre obstacle course built by someone called Mark Bolander to simulate riding in the Sierras. And we spent 3 weeks there working on the horses, getting them not afraid of things, and just getting everyone more confident and braver. And then we just went on from there once our 3 weeks were up.
Wow, I've heard of it. It's Mark Bollinger. He does like trail rides with bridges and steps. Is that the same person? Yeah, I used to follow and watch his trail riding because I found that fascinating. Have you heard there's a horse? Because I think it was through a blind horse, and his name's Endo. And he used to go trail riding, and it was amazing to watch.
Blind.
Yes, yeah. It's brilliant. So share with us some of your stories. What would you like to share? The platform's yours. You can talk about whatever you like. So share some stories that have. There was a story about, you were saying about the horses are healing. And you were saying, Michelle, about how they've healed you, and you've recently found that people that have crossed your path, they're having a similar effect with them. Would you like to share some stories?
Well, the horses have definitely been healing for us, turning Scout's anxiety into pure confidence. She's completely beaten anxiety. She does not have it anymore. She does not have depression anymore. So it's pretty significant when a young child has those things, and we healed it all with no medication, just a lifestyle change and constant time with the animals. And we really enjoy, we're with them 24/7. They live, sometimes we camp in a pasture and they sleep at night right next to our camper, and Scout loves it. They treat us like a drive-through. They'll come up and stick their faces in the window and expect carrots to pop out. So it's just a whole new relationship with your animals when you live with them like this. Even when they lived in our backyard, it wasn't the same as like this. So the connection becomes even stronger, and you just know what they're thinking, you know what they're wanting, you know what they're telling you, and they know what you need. And the horses, it's been very fun to watch through over the past 2 years how they have pushed Scout at the right moments when she was ready to do certain things. All of the horses. And now that she really doesn't need that anymore, she can ride any of the horses anywhere we go, anywhere in this country. We've ridden in deserts, in mountains, in rain and snow, on cliff trails. I mean, not that she necessarily loves them all, but we ride highly technical things. We go into the wilderness by ourselves with no knowledge other than research and maps that we have. And, she's just very well equipped and confident now. And what has come to my mind is people have started coming in our path, which we love, that just for no reason we cross paths with somebody who we're meant to be with. We're meant to meet. And whether we're just friends for a short time, or some people we are going to now be lifelong friends, here they are. And usually Hedawudi is the nucleus of that. And we took somebody on a ride last week that just was in town, that doesn't live anywhere near here, and just by chance stopped in hopes of meeting Scout. And we just felt great energy about her. And this has happened with other people. And we invited her to come riding with us the day we went to the Wild Horses. And she was able to come. And she needed healing that day. And we didn't know that when we invited her. And when we look back at all the people who Woody has taken for a ride, I would say 95% of them needed healing from Woody. And it's pretty magical. So now all of our animals are helping others, that their kind of work is almost done with us, although they keep good maintenance on us.
We can all do with a bit of maintenance from time to time,
Yes.
trust me. Oh, yeah, that's a lovely story. And animals, all animals, but especially horses, I think it's something to do with their free spirit. They're very, obviously, they're very intuitive, and yeah, they do tend to give you what you need, not always what you want, and they push you. Just
Yes.
like some people. But it's and I get what you mean about camping out and stay. I mean, oh God, it would be lovely. I during lockdown last year, I was so lucky that where I keep my horse, I was able to they literally said, come and stay with us, and then at least you're in one area and you can get to do your horse. So I stayed there, and I camped out for a few days, and I spent, which is what I always wanted to do with my own horse. So I camped out, and I just loved it. And you could hear the horses snorting and moving around in the night. You could hear the foxes, and it was just. It was lovely. I mean, it was such, it was on the farm, so we didn't go anywhere, but it was something that I'd love to have done. And even if it was just in your back garden, it was still special. And there was moments when you spend with your horses just sitting with them and just doing nothing. There's like a silent communication. There's healing going on. There's an exchange, which you walk away and you don't know why, but you just feel better. Well, yeah. And I love that. So I can imagine that the people that come into contact with you have a similar experience and go away feeling inspired and just, yeah, definitely. So what else would you like to, what other, so Scout, tell me about your book. So how did that come about?
Well, about 4 years ago when I was 8, I took an online class on writing a book for publisher.
What kind of school do you have?
I do something called unschooling. It's experiential learning. So instead of sitting down at a desk doing curriculum, I took an online class of how to write a book. And I worked with a publisher, and I worked with an editor, and I had to write down what I wanted the pages to look like, and we just kept working together, and until I thought the pictures were perfect.
That was with an illustrator.
That was with an illustrator. And then 4 years later, we got my book printed just this January.
Yeah. Wow. How proud are you?
Yeah, she had, it was professionally illustrated by Diane Lancaster. So they're really spectacular illustrations. And tell her about how all the characters were created.
Well, how they were created is they are either animals. 2 of the animals are traveling with us at the moment, or they lived on my farm back on Cape Cod. Such as the instance, the big white horse that I call Big Phoenix is my in real life horse Dakota. Or Bloom was on the picture is Bloom. That was my blind pony Daisy. Or Puck the dog in real life is Puck the dog in the book.
Yeah, and brilliant. I think that maybe Scout didn't think about this at the time, but I think about it a lot. She started this book when she was 8. Now it's right about the time she started struggling with friends changing and moving apart and interactions changing, and she had a lot of bad experiences that really made her sad and unhappy. And so the book is very much about friendship and working out differences and not bullying. And so it's a really beautiful story. And I don't think she necessarily meant it, but that's how she was feeling. And ever since she was born, she just played with toys and created stories. So she's always making up stories. She's a born storyteller. And I think that this book came from that place where she was, which was the reason we actually started this journey. And so this book did take a long time, but it's fantastic. And everyone should take a look at it, because I think you'll love it. It has a really nice message. And she's a very gifted storyteller and writer. She has a second book. Tell them about your second book and how that happened.
Well, when I was 6, we started traveling internationally. And the first place we ever went out of the country was Mongolia. And while we were in Mongolia, we picked up this, when we didn't want to go to all the tourist places. We wanted to, authentically travel around. So we had an interpreter and a guide with us. And while we were staying in one of the Gur camps, there was this girl that helped out in the Gur camp that lived down this prairie hill from us. And we kind of just picked her up as we went, and she traveled around with us while we were staying there. And her name was Tinma. And
she was your age.
And then she was about my age. And when I started writing books at the same time that I was writing this, I took another online class with the same person on writing a Cinderella story, but in a different culture style. So I chose, Mongolia, and I called my book, which I am actually illustrating myself digitally at the moment, called Tinma Ella, a Mongolian Cinderella.
Wow. Are you going to send her, do you stay in touch with her? Have you stayed in touch?
With the girl from Mongolia?
Yeah.
No, we have not.
Tell them why you can't.
Because Mongols, they're nomadic like us, so they are always packing up and moving. So, our guide, or our interpreter, Pooji, who also plays a small part in our book, she had to, so we could get permission to use Tinma's name in the book, she had to go searching all around, where they usually are, to go find her, so she could get permission from her. So, no, we cannot keep in contact with her because of that.
No.
They don't get mail, or they don't have internet, so they just move 4 to 8 times a year. When their herds of animals move because of the time of year, they pack up their things and change location.
Okay, but that's an amazing opportunity, Scout, and you've travelled more than I have. So yeah, that's an amazing story, and to put it into a book, and who knows, you never know, your cross may path. Your paths may cross at some point. You never know what's around the corner, or in the future. But wow. So I'm going to share your book, so people who's interested can have a look, and they can go to your page. So I'll share that after we've done the live. Okay, so
they can also get my book on Amazon, the Barnes & Noble website, and my personal website for it, www.magicalfriendshipjourney.com. Okay. And also if you're a store that sells books, we sell it wholesale.
Okay, thank you. So I'll put some links up so that people can find those. I'm just going to have a look. So we have there's a few people on here that obviously that know you. Stephanie, I don't know if I say that right.
That's Korea. That's from Korea, I think.
Chikut, she's just saying hi.
Oh, Sakati.
Sicardi. There you go. There's quite a few. And she's put Three's Company. She'll say it again. Three's Company, not a crowd. Okay, so there's lots of people saying hello and happy Easter, by the way. She's put Michelle's always prepares, of course, and I went to camp in New York. See what she's saying about New York camp. Put that on there. I'll just put that on there for you can see. Yeah, so she's put that on. So is that a friend of yours?
Yes. Before I was a firefighter, I trained dogs for a living. I trained search and rescue dogs, but I also trained service dogs. And Stephanie and her husband had a little girl who was only 6 years old that had to walk with a walker, like a physical piece of equipment. And they wanted, and their doctor told them she would never walk on her own. And Stephanie, that's all you need to say for her to then prove that, oh no, my daughter will walk. And so they were amazing, dedicated parents. I remember seeing them go out with their daughter on a tricycle and would push the pedals round and round for her because she wasn't strong enough to do it herself. Now she competes in Special Olympics on a tricycle. But
Wow.
when she was 6, I trained a dog for her. And Danielle named the dog Walker because that dog was going to become her walker.
Wow.
And so with the dog walking at her side, she was able to, by the time, I'm not sure the exact age, but I know a goal in life was for her to graduate from high school and walk independently down the aisle. And she did. And so that is who Stephanie is. So they are amazing parents with an amazing little girl that are part of a life of mine decades ago.
Oh, that's nice that they stop back. Yeah, they sound very, very special. And to go into the Olympics, Paralympics, that's an achievement, a big achievement. Okay. So where is your next journey? Where is the next part of your journey going to take you then, Michelle and Scout? Where are you planning next to go? Or do you stick a pin in and a map, or you just you're more organized?
Well, how our lifestyle works is we don't make plans. We don't really know where we're going next, honestly, and we're leaving tomorrow, so we don't really know where we're gonna go next yet. So we just kind of figure it out as we go. Like tonight, we'll probably search for a camp that we can go to, and that's where we'll go to, and then we'll just figure it out as we go.
We actually do know where we're going tomorrow, but we're not. We don't generally tell people ahead of time. Basically, it's for safety that like where we'll be headed.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's exactly right. There are many days that the day before we don't know where we're going. And the reason we started doing that is it helped with anxiety. So if you don't have a date where you have to be at a certain place at a certain time, when you don't get there, you're not anxious about not making it. So a lot of our life was managed in such a way to reduce all anxiety. When Scout had a lot of anxiety, there was a lot of criteria to what we could not do every day, whether it had to do with traveling, camping, riding, other people around us. But the travel plans was part of it, and we've kept that even though her anxiety is gone because we enjoy it. If you make a plan to go somewhere and then the weather's going to be bad, who really wants to go there? Because we're not on vacation. So we try to always go where the weather is nice. And we're actually where we're headed tomorrow, and then where we're going to head later this week is because we've gotten invitations. So people will now invite us to visit them. And so if we happen to be in that area and the weather is good, then we'll take that opportunity to go visit if it works out for everyone. So we really are just nomadic like Tinma, and we travel around by happenstance, weather, opportunity, Where we are now, we were originally coming for 4 days, and I think we'll end up having stayed for 6 weeks. So
Wow.
it's not predictable, and it's really nice. We've even, of course, broken down before, which is never fun. But when we don't have to be anywhere, okay, where we break down is where we're going to be. And there's always someone in some place and something that's there to help us when we need it. And we just enjoy our circumstances in the moment and not try to strive for something we thought we were supposed to do, because there usually isn't anything. It's
Yes.
just where we are.
Wow. I mean, Scout, when you grow, when you are an older a grown woman, you're going to look back on this adventure, and it must go by so quickly. The time must just go by so quickly because you're just in that moment and you're enjoying what you're doing. And like you said, it's not always sunshining. You have the bad weather as well sometimes, but you can just go where the road takes you, so to speak. So I know you do.
Tell her about the bison story, about how there's so many things that we do.
I think you should tell her that because I still true.
You can tell me, Scout.
This is an alleged story. I don't know if this is actually true. She might just be making this up, but we'll see. There's no actual evidence except for what she's telling us, so go ahead.
Well, we just, a lot of the things we do are people's bucket list rides or yearly vacation or dream or lifetime event. And for Scout, it's just her normal life. So, we ride in a lot of spectacular places. We're very fortunate, but we do so many things that, it's just hard to remember it all. And we were in South Dakota last summer, and we were in the Black Hills, and I don't know if we had horses or not, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, but as we were driving out of Custer State Park, right through the heart of the park where all the tourists go, there were 4 giant bison laying on the side of the road, like almost touching the pavement. And the next day I was telling her brother about it, and she was in shock because she had no memory that we drove by these bison. Now, before then, we had ridden on the Centennial Trail on a pack trip, and we'd seen hundreds and hundreds of bison. So I guess to her, seeing 4 on the side of the road wasn't a big deal because she rode through herds of them on horseback. But that was kind of funny. But yeah, so it's hard. And her memories, and I'm surprised you haven't asked this yet, but that's good because it means you have original questions. But everybody wants to ask us, what is your favorite ride? And
I wasn't going to ask that.
I know. So they want us to say some trail, and Scout will never say that usually because,
well, I kind of will.
What makes rides favorite for her are we met somebody very special, or we rode with somebody special, or we did something fun. So because the beautiful bucket list rides are, I think, just daily occurrences to her. But we've had some amazing people we've ridden with. We've ridden our horses through drive-thrus. We've ridden them to get pizza, and we've ridden them. You want to tell?
Yes. 2 of my top favorite rides. The first one we were in South Dakota, somewhere around Mount Rushmore, and we rode on this trail. It's called Iron Creek Horse Trail, and we were with 2 of our friends who we were staying with at the time. We trailered them in with us, and we were riding, and I love water crossings. Anything that I can cross my horse safely into water with, I'm all for it. And this one, it was an out and back ride. We were gonna go in and come back the same way. And so it had 12 water crossings one way, so 24 water crossings in the whole day. And as we're crossing one of the water crossings, we see these people off to the side, and they had this cute little lab. And we kept going, and we got to the end of the trail. We were having lunch, and this lady, the same lady who had this cute little lab and was walking with her friend, she walked up to us, and we're getting back on when she comes over, and she's like, Are you Scouts too? I'm like, yeah, we are. And she was a big fan of us, apparently. And we actually ended up becoming, like, we're extremely good friends with her. She rides Woody, and, like, she just gets, her and Woody get along great, and Woody loves her. And her name is Cammie, and we ride, and we just love hanging out with her. So that was probably my top favorite ride. But my second favorite ride, one of my big bucket list items was to ride through a drive-through on my horse and pick up my food. And when we were staying in Grand Canyon State Park, after we did the whole finagle of going to see the Grand Canyon on the rim and, you know, doing all that, when we were staying in the camp, we realized, oh, there is a drive-through in town. Why not we go do this? It's like a 20-minute ride away from us. So we get on the horses. Of course, we have our little Liberty horse in tow. And we're just riding. We ride there, and it was a Wendy's. So we get in there, and it's packed because it's like the town that is, like, it's the Grand Canyon town. So they're all in there, and everyone's there, and it's just like a giant line. And we get in there like a car, and we're all sitting there. We order it, and then we go to the window. I had to get off because it just rained a few days before, and there was a puddle in front of the window. And of course, my horse was too afraid to go up to a puddle, even though she can cross raging rivers up to her nose. But,
That's so funny.
So I got off, I got our food, then there was a museum and some woods right there, so we went behind the museum fence and we had our food, and my horse got to have French fries and a Frosty, so that was fun. So that was really fun.
I remember seeing a Stacey Westfall video where she was riding one of her horses and she rode to McDonald's and she was riding down the street, and I loved that. I thought that must be so cool.
This town we're in has many hitching posts.
Yeah,
so.
It's like all surrounded around horse people. Like there's a pizza place that's called, and you'll love this, it's called the Hitching Post, because there's a whole the horse area is bigger than the actual parking lot, and yeah, it's amazing there. Or there's a breakfast place. The library has hitching posts. There's so many places that have hitching posts around here. It's amazing. The grocery store has hitching posts. Like, it seems like a pretty normal thing to have a horse just walking across the street in this town, because there's hitching posts at every street corner.
Yeah, we don't have things like that in the UK. Yeah, if you rode into town on your horse, you'd get a double look, and there's nowhere to tie them. Maybe in the countryside, or in the dales or somewhere, the lakes, but not actually in the town. In fact, sometimes you struggle to find, because it's so busy in the roads. The roads in the UK are a lot smaller than in the States, and they are windy and tiny, and sometimes you can just get one car down. So
that's
you
what
might
it's
be
like out east, because it's all the Civil War roads. And we were actually there this winter for a little while, and we were driving there, our giant wide rig that's so long, and we're just like eyes on the road, like, God forbid someone else comes down the road with another rig, because someone's going to be backing up, and it's most likely going to be them because we're giant.
Oh yeah, yeah. So how? So you've got your. So I tell you what, when you get up in the morning, give us a little rundown of your day. So what's your days like? I know they're all different, but obviously you've got to get up and sort the horses out. So what's your day like, an average day?
Well, we kind of have 3 days: a rest day, which is today, a travel day, and a ride day. I guess the typical thing is, well, for a rest day, we'll get up in the morning, maybe look at our phones for a few minutes, then we'll go and we'll feed the horses, give them their hay, and then we'll come back inside, we'll have our food, then we'll go out and pick up their manure and give them their feed bags with their grain and supplements in them. And then we might, then we might do an interview like today, or you know, just rest around. Like in Arizona, we have siesta on pretty much every rest day,
like museums and hikes
and we'll go like biking or swimming or hiking or go to a museum, you know, whatever there is to do around us if we can get to it easily. For a ride day, if there's kind of two types of ride days. If we are camping at the trailhead, we'll get up, you know, go do the normal, depending on how long the ride is. Let's just say it's a normal day ride, as we usually do. We'll get up maybe around 7:30 in the morning. Prior, well, she gets up earlier, but we'll go out. We'll give them their hay, come back inside, have whatever breakfast we're having, go out, clean their manure, give them their feed bags. Then we'll get our lunch ready. Then they should be done with that, and we'll go time up to the trailer. We'll get them all tacked up. Then we'll go out wherever we're going. If we have to drive to the trailhead, which we've done a couple of times since we've been here, basically the same thing in the morning, but we'll try to, you know, hurry up a little bit more depending on how far the car drive is. And then we'll get there, do the same thing, tack up. We have a slant load trailer, so we can't, and the stalls are fairly tight, so we can't have their saddles on there. So we'll get there, we'll put their saddles on and get going. A travel day, we're lucky since we've got so much to do. We try to get everything done a few days before, but you know, we've got so much stuff to get done. We're lucky if we get out by 10:30 in the morning.
No, well, that's not true.
We can get out early if we really shoot for it, but you know, so what our travel day looks like is we do the same thing as any other day. We'll most likely have our lunch already packed the night before, and maybe have like a pre-made breakfast that we can just grab and eat. We'll do the same thing as we do any other day. Give the horses their hay. The trail will most likely already be set up for them. You know, have their hay bags and maybe some grain bowls, whatever. And then we'll get onto the road. We typically only really...
Well, one of the things about a travel day is our rig. So we have to put our rig together. So our rig consists of a truck camper, and a bumper pull trailer. So for example, because we were here for 6 weeks, we put our camper on the ground. So to get ready for a travel day, we have to...
First, we have to get our extension hitch on before we can put the camper on without the ball hitch. Then we slide the camper onto the truck. Then we put the ball hitch on. Then we get we have a flatbed, so we don't have any sides. So we have boxes on the sides and wooden panels to keep it all on. So we get the boxes up, we put the walls up, and then we go and hook up the horse trailer, and then we're ready to go.
Yeah, and our camper has 4 slides. So, you know, before we put it on the truck, we had to pack up the inside so we could. So typically, if we're already hooked up, we'll get up in the morning and put it together. But because there was so much to do, we got the whole rig hooked up yesterday. Mm-hmm. So tomorrow morning, we just need to close our slides and load the horses and take off. So, but the important thing for us on travel days is we don't like to go very far. In the beginning, we would do long, hard days, and it's no fun for us or the horses. And when we first started, you know, we weren't as confident. And so we would tend to use horse motels and campgrounds and have it really planned out ahead where we were going to go and stay. And now, 2 years later, we boondock a lot. We can just pull over anywhere and set up. We don't need anything. And it's not common, but it's not unusual that we would take off in the morning with a general sense of where we were going, but not really know exactly where we were going to spend the night. And we would go look at something and then maybe move and go find something better if our online recon didn't pan out as we had hoped. So we try not to drive more than 300 miles in a day. That gives us time to set up, be done early or find a new location if our first plan didn't work out. So.
Such as like when we stayed at the Grand Canyon, we had a plan to go somewhere, but we got there too late because it was already closed up. We had to drive around to the other side of the park, and it was already pitch black by then. So we just kind of pulled in to a little parking area, like a dirt parking area where no one was, and we just kind of sat there for the night. Then in the morning we got turned around, and we it was light out now, so we walked around, and then we drove up the road about 15-20 minutes, and we found a nice place to camp with trees and shade and nice footing for the horses to be on their high lines.
Sounds amazing. I'm just going to have a quick look to see if there's any. So somebody called Wendy Matlick says, loves your blogs. Okay. Your friend said Happy Easter. I forgot to say Happy Easter. Did you get an Easter egg, Scout?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she set up a whole scavenger hunt for me this morning.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
And that lady, so Trina Riddle, hello ladies, happy Easter to one and all. So there's quite a few questions. So, but you can answer these afterwards. Just a lot of people saying hello. Okay. Right. Okay. So Michelle, would you so you used to be a firefighter, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that must have come in handy. Doing, I know it's not the same, obviously not the same thing, but you've got to be quite strong and you've got to be quite level-headed to be, I can imagine, to be a firefighter. So that some of the skills then must have set you up for what you're doing now. In fact, most skills that you learn in life set you up, don't they?
Most of the skills that got me ready weren't really from my firefighting job, because my firefighting job I retired from was from a city fire department. Okay. So it was mostly, houses burning down and car accidents and things that go on in the city. But before I was a firefighter, I trained animals professionally, and I was very involved in search and rescue. So for over 20 years, I searched for lost people in the woods and participated in urban search and rescue at disasters. And I did it with dogs. I did water rescue and rope rescue, and I did ski patrol. So all kinds of different rescue things. So and I also teach wilderness first responder classes still, and am a wilderness EMT. So if someone gets in trouble in the woods, I would typically be the person that would come to help. So I like to hope that I prevent us from having any accidents, because I know what can go wrong, and try to be well prepared to prevent something from happening. And that's what I teach my students, that if they come back to me in 2 or 3 years, they won't tell me about all the
disasters,
treating that they did of the people they were guiding. They'll tell me how they didn't have to treat anyone because their knowledge prevented everything from going wrong. And so that's what I try to do, is and to teach Scout to think critically and know what our risks are. And yes, our life is riskier than most, but it's all not taken lightly. We decide what risks we are going to take, and we are prepared to mitigate things. And what may look risky from a photo that you see on one of Scout's social media, people have no idea how much preparation might have gone behind whatever it is we're doing, and what our capabilities are. We're not the average trail riders.
No, so you're not just you've got thought behind what you're doing, because you even I saw of a Scout changing a tire. I mean, I can't even, well, no, maybe I could if I had to, but I haven't had the chance to do that. So so you managed to do that, Scout, which is an achievement in itself.
She's done it twice now.
Really? What, practice, or you needed to do it? Was it a practice?
Both times we needed to do it. The first time we were driving through ruts and our tire got a hole in it, and
With the stem pulled out.
The stem pulled out, and then the second time, the picture that you saw, the tire was wearing away.
So well done for doing that. Would you like to? So we've been on about nearly 50 minutes now, so I'm sure you've got things that you need to be doing. Is there anything that you'd like to, anything else that you'd like to chat about? I'm just seeing if there's any more questions, because I don't want to take up the whole of your day, because it is midday there, isn't it? Is it?
Oh, it's okay. If people have questions, we're happy to start answering them.
I think most people are just saying hello, really. So that's one of my friends, and she says, "Hello, beautiful souls." Okay. There's quite. I'm just going through. Most people are just saying hi and loving your posts, and they follow you and things like that. So it's quite nice.
Well, I guess what we would like to say is, we Scout just posted a giveaway today, and we are trying to. She's made a lot of sales on her book from her regular followers, and we've been trying to think about how we could grow her sales even more. And so we had purchased a small quantity of character stuffies from 4 of the characters in the book, and we're going to give one away to anyone who can maybe take Scout's book into their local bookseller or local shop that sells books and show it to them. And if those, you pull them all together, if those, if that leads to a wholesale sale, then we're going to send, she's got these 4 stuffies here. And we want to send them one of these as a gift in exchange for helping us grow Scout's book business. So
Okay.
yeah, just take your copy to a bookseller, and the book is available on Barnes and Noble, and her publisher, which is Stillwater Books, is there's a link to her publisher on Amazon, and there's wholesale pricing for anyone that would like to sell her book in their shop. Okay. So we're encouraging that maybe her followers could help her get a bigger sales force by having people around the world going into shops and maybe getting her books in front of more people.
So you said it's on Amazon. Can you get it in the UK? Do you know if you can get it on Amazon UK? You can.
Yes, it's on Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble online.
Okay.
It's available on the website that Scout has for the book, and it's also available from the publisher. So there's 4 places you can order from, and so you can also actually buy these stuffies. They're on her website also. If you wanted to buy one to go with a book for a gift.
They are limited edition though. Once they're gone for good.
Yeah, but yeah. So it was her. She worked with to learn to write the book. She worked with an editor to, fine tune the language. She worked with the illustrator. Then she worked with the publisher. Idea that she came up with today that just went online is to help with her marketing, is to give away the stuffies in exchange for help making the book known and getting it into stores and shops.
That's a good business move, Scout. Well done. Well done. So you must be so proud of her, Michelle. And Scout, you must be proud of your mum for giving you a whole experience in life that not many people would have the chance or maybe not want to do. So yeah, I can see a big.
I think a lot of people want to do things and they're afraid to. And I'll tell here's a story that I like to tell. And one of the most common comments is that people would like to do this or that, and they don't know how, or they think they can't. And when we first went to Mongolia, the reason we went is my son was stationed in Japan, and I wanted to go somewhere else since we were halfway around the world. And I really wanted to go to Mongolia because of the relationship they have with horses, and I wanted to ride horses there and meet those people. And so, but the thought of planning a trip or even paying for a trip to Mongolia seems daunting and an unrealistic goal. And the first thing you'll say is, I could never do that. So my plan was I bought one-way tickets for the two of us to Mongolia. So I paid for them, and there it was. Now I'm committed. There's no way to like not go. You're going to lose all that money. And then over time, I just found the guide and bought the next ticket to get to Japan. I just did it little by little until I had taken us from New York to Mongolia, all over the steppe in the Sahara Desert, to Okinawa, then to San Diego for a visit there, and then back home. And the whole thing lasted
3 weeks.
Lasted 3 or 4 weeks. And you just have to do it and believe in yourself, and not come up with limitations and reasons why you can't. Because if you want to do something bad enough, you can do it. You just find a way to make it happen. And we rely heavily on not planning too much, because what we need and where we need to be always occurs, and who we need to see always is in front of us. And if we were to try to plan too much, you would just plan yourself to death and never go because you thought you hadn't planned enough. And then you'd have so much planning, it'd be hard to meet all the plans, and the whole thing would be too stressful. So we put in some basic things, and then we just let the rest flow, and it always works out amazing. And once you start doing it, it just gets easier, and you just kind of learn as you go. When we first left on the road, I loaded our horse trailer with so much grain that I'm surprised the axle didn't collapse, which was so silly, because in every town, in every place in the United States, there's a feed store and you can buy grain. Yeah, I thought I had to take all this stuff with us, and
we also stocked up on food because we had a giant house and we had an unfinished ginormous basement bigger than our house. So we always stocked that up. Like, we grew our own food, but we always stocked that up for like store-bought winter food. So we'd have, food to survive us through the winter when we couldn't grow things. So we were used to having just a million little things in there that we could go grab out from the store.
Yeah. So once you get going, you just figure it out. You just learn as you go. And if you're afraid to go because you think you don't know enough, you'll never go, because you just learn it along the way.
Yeah, that's true. I went on a little trip. I think it was about 2 years ago, and it was my first time to the States. And I bought a ticket to Denver. And I remember at the time a friend said, "You need to go." And I'm going, "How on earth am I going to get there? I've got no money. How am I going to get there?" And I managed to buy a ticket, and I got there, and it was literally a few days before. I literally had I'd arranged for some car hire, but it fell through. So and I'd planned a few Airbnbs, and there was quite a long way away. I stayed in Golden in Colorado, and then I went to Cheyenne, and then I went up to where did I go next? I went to quite a few places, and I thought, how the heck am I going to get there? I've got no transport. So and the day before, I was thinking, perhaps I shouldn't go. Perhaps this is a sign I shouldn't go. And my friend said, "You're going." And I went, "I've got no, I haven't got enough money." She says, "You're going to go. It'll work out fine. You're going to go." And literally, I got up in the morning. I felt sick. I got on this plane. I was going on my own, which didn't bother me because I do most things on my own. And I sat on this plane. I thought, well, I'm here. I'm going now. And I managed to get to where I needed to. I got a train and then a little bus, and then I walked for about 2 hours to get to this place. And then the next day, I did manage to get some car hire, but no, it was a few days later because I got to Cheyenne on the Greyhound coach, and I missed one, so I had to wait till midnight to get the next one. And it was just such an experience. It was just, but I met the most amazing people, and the people I stayed with were just so friendly. And there was a couple I stayed with that didn't know me. It was a friend of a friend, and she says, "Yeah, you can come and stay." And I stayed with them, and I ended up going riding. She has barrel racing horses, and I'd only just got back on my horse because of my own anxiety. Nothing to do with horses, but it just put a block on me. And I'd got back on my horse, which just sitting on it was like, wow, I've won the lottery. It was so, for me, that was just my own hurdle. And then I was out riding in America for 2 hours on this barrel racing horse, and it was like, wow, it was mind blowing. But if I'd have planned it, I mean, it was better than I would have planned.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that the day before I wasn't even sure I was going to get there, I had literally a few pounds because I thought I was going to have more, but it all worked out. It worked out.
Yeah, we had a similar experience in. We were in New Zealand, and the same thing. We just travel by public transportation and figure it out as we go. And we wanted to go to Hobbiton, and we were staying at an Airbnb, and we just found there was a shuttle. And the day before, I just Googled horse stable near me or something. That's how we usually find things. And I found this person who wasn't a trail riding place, but I think she was just a stable. And we told her who we were, and she came and we went to Hobbiton, visited the whole place, and she picked us up, and she lived right there around Hobbiton. So then we went horseback riding in the Shire, and it was amazing. And then she brought us back to our Airbnb, and yeah, things just happen, and you find the right people, and you have great experiences, and it's a great way. That's how we do it, and it works for us. And
I think it's about trusting, which is really a hard thing to do if you're not used to doing it. Is trusting your intuition, just trusting your gut that things are going to work out, and being brave to take that step. I'm going to have a cough now. I'm just going to post this. This is from Jane McLeod. Just go back in there. She wants to just. So that's from Jane. Excuse me, I got a tickle. So she says, "How long will you stay on the road?"
Oh, go ahead.
How long will you stay on the road for, and do you have plans to settle in a place and take what you have learned to help other children who suffer with anxiety and depression? You are both such an inspiration. Thank you. So that's from Jane in the UK.
Well, we are currently, so as our theme we've been talking about, we don't have plans. Our plan is we're trying to find a spot where we would be interested in purchasing some land, because we would like to have a place we can go. Well, last year during COVID, we were on the move and on the road, and that got a little bit stressful when everything closed down and we didn't really know where we could go. So that made us realize it'd be nice if we had our own place we could just go to. Sometimes, because we travel, many people who are full-time travelers, I should say full-time RVers, don't actually travel a lot. They might sit in one place or go between two places, like a summer place and a winter place. But we actually move all the time. Staying in one spot for 6 months, 6 weeks is a long time for us. We've only done this a couple times. So we're always moving. And we found that we do at least once or a couple times a year. We like to just stop and pause and stay stationary. whether it's to work on writing or just to take a break, whatever the reason, in the winter, just to be in one good temperature area. So we're still in search of where that place is. We've kind of narrowed it down a little bit. That's kind of the focus of this summer, is investigating those places we think might be good. We've initially thought we'd find somewhere that would be perfect year round, and we now know that's not true. We need to find a place that's going to be nice most of the year. Scout has a dream to do the Mustang makeover for kids, and we need to have our own place to be able to do that. And I would like to have a tiny home, but I still want to travel. We still want to go around with the horses. So that's kind of as far as our plan is. We're sort of in search of that perfect spot.
I hope, from what we've heard, Southwest Oregon is pretty good, and I would like that because I want to be able to get to the mountains and the beach.
Oh, you should talk to Justin Dunn, who used to do the Mustang makeovers. He has because he used to live in Colorado, and he's moved to where's he gone now? North Carolina, and he has a place with Mustangs, and he helps veterans. But he used to work with children and summer camps, but he's just doing he has a facility, and the veterans or people that are referred to him can go and just be with the horses, and he just lets them just interact with the horses and leaves the horses to do the healing, to do the communication, and that's quite fascinating. But he used to do the Mustang makeovers, so I'm sure he could give
We're headed to Paria River Ranch in a couple weeks, and to answer the other half of her question, there's going to be some conversation about possibly doing some camps for kids that to help with healing. So with animals, and Scout is going to be a part of that conversation about being involved in that, if that comes to fruition.
Wow.
And that's in southern Utah.
Wow. I've no doubt that whatever you guys do, you're going to just achieve it, because you set your mind to it, and your mindset is inspiring. I mean, you've inspired me, and I've got little thoughts in my head of what not on your scale, but a little thought, but we'll have to see where that goes. Yeah, but thank you so much for spending Easter Sunday, and just chatting with us and telling us a little bit about your life. I'm sure there's loads more stories, and I'd love to hear them. So perhaps another time down the road we can catch up and see what you're up to, and see how Scout's getting on. I continue to look at your page and be in awe of this. How old are you now, Scout, by the way?
Excuse me, I'm 12.
You're 12 now. Crikey. Oh, she'll be teenager soon. Oh, so I mean, yeah, it's just fascinating. I don't know what else to say. It's just fascinating, and there'll be lots of people, I'm sure, looking at your blog and getting inspiration in their own little way, whatever that is. They'll be getting something from that, because when you watch somebody that's doing what you do, you invest in that energy, and you draw something from it for yourself, whatever it is you need, even if it's just, do you know what, I'm going to do something, I'm going to do this, I'm going to whatever it is in your own little world, it gives you inspiration to do what you want to do, but maybe not on your scale. That's what I'm trying to say. So would you like to say anything else before we go? How hot is it there? I know you said it was hot.
I think it's close to 100 degrees in this camper.
Oh my goodness, you must be sweltering. Oh, you must be sweltering.
We are.
We're looking forward to going to higher altitude tomorrow.
with some nice cool air, mountain breeze. Mountain breeze. Well, thank you so much. It's been lovely chatting to you. Have a lovely Sunday, the rest of your Sunday, and safe travels wherever you're going to. I look forward to seeing where that is, and I'll post your links for your books. And so just do a little write up, and then I'll post that with it as well about the gifts and the prize for people that can promote your book, and we'll see where that
She
goes.
put that post on Facebook, so you can see that the whole
And on
little write up.
Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, she has an Instagram also. And,
Yeah.
So you can find the write up there.
Okay, I'll look at that, and then I shall post that on this.
Yeah, there's a nice picture also.
On this event. Well, thank you again. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Go and cool down now, and give your horses a big hug from the UK, from me.
Right.
And yeah, I look forward to a catch up in the near future. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. Bye-bye.
You are welcome. Bye. Well, aren't they amazing? That was just brilliant. Thank you guys for coming on. Thanks for all your messages. I'm sure Michelle and Scout will get back to you. They should be able to see these messages. Wendy, Martha, yeah. I'm sorry I didn't put them all on, but I wanted to focus on the guys, and I didn't want to sort of interrupt them when they was talking. So thanks again for being on, for watching the live tonight, and for taking part. Have a lovely Sunday, and speak to you soon. Thank you, and bye for now.